Hey, everybody. I hope everybody doing well out there. This here is Shy, my female Ornate Nile's upgraded outdoor enclosure for the summer. For this one, I wanted to add a bit more greenery and of course more space for her to enjoy. So in this 3-part installment, I want to show you what all I did to construct this 6 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot outdoor enclosure. Some parts I'll be skipping or glossing over through the previous videos showing the same process. So for time, refer to other videos for these particulars. Let's get it.
Day and night, on my grind, I pay the price, pay the price, pay the price. Yeah, boy, I pay the price. The flow of the dome and just flow with it. Go with the flow and just roll with it. I done did it by myself and I count for nobody else. No, I done did it by myself and I count for nobody else. With the flow of the dome and just flow with it. Go with the flow and just roll with it. The investment in this game, my blood, sweat, and tears. Living with no fears, my progression over the years.
Let's get to explaining the extension of the stand. The stand was originally 5 foot by 4 foot, so if you want to know how I constructed the stand, please refer to part 1 of the outdoor iguana enclosure. As before, I always leave a foot of stand for length longer than the cage. Since the cage is 6 feet, I extended the stand from 5 foot to 7 foot. As you can see, the stand was pretty weathered from UV, rain, snow, and other harsh elements. All I did was constructed another 2 feet with framing posts and connected it to the stand with these corner braces, 8 to be exact. Now for the middle of the stand. I removed one of the middle support boards and moved it to the extended side. This is where I would build in the 9-gallon 26-inch by 7-inch pond basin. Drop the basin in between the support boards to confirm fitment. Perfect. This is after sanding and restaining. Of course, I put a board down to protect my driveway from drips. This is after top coating a few coats. Again, I chose this barn red color to match my pergola. Now let's start with the base of the cage. I cut this 8 foot by 4 foot by 1/2 inch BCX Sanded Plywood to the length of 6 feet with my circular saw. Lined up the base of the stand where it be placed in the basin where it should be on the base. Added some weight into the basin and took a marker and traced the basin within the inside lip. This is what I got. Then took my jigsaw and cut out the tracing. Drop the basin in to confirm fitment. Perfect. Remove the basin and sand it up and around and under the hole with a fine grit. Also sanded the edge where I cut. Then after, Drygarded the one hole side and inside the basin hole, then turned it over and did the other side. Oh, by the way, Drygard is the same as Drylock, just a different brand. Later, laid out the artificial turf over the base and stretched it to the length. This comes 8 foot by 5 foot. Stapled the outer edges with carpet staples. So I had to cut this to the dimensions of the base with a pair of scissors. Then cut a hole for the basin with the scissors. Then again, drop the basin into the hole to reaffirm fitment. Now to the base frame for support to prevent bowing. For this process, refer to part 1 of the outdoor iguana enclosure. The difference with this one is I'm building the bottom mid support frames around the basin, measuring from one inside end to the other, and confirm the other side, and screw them in with 2.5-inch wood screws, 1 screw per end. Then to lift the basin into the frame and screw the base into the frame all the way around. 6 1.5-inch wood screws each side. Now, the panels. Again, refer to iguana enclosure videos for this process. The one difference here is I've seen videos about spray painting the chicken wire black for better viewing from the outside. So I took the chicken wire and stapled the ends to the board and sprayed away. One can did the job for both wire panels. Off to the panel frames. I took my Drygard and mixed in some charcoal gray cement coloring for a gray finish. Then with 1.5-inch brush, I painted both frames inside and out. This will protect the wood from being weathered. And of course, staple the wire to the frame. Here's how I look after. That black makes a difference. Now for the construction of the back wall. Took my other 8-foot by 4-foot by 1-inch BCX Sanded Plywood board and measured off 6 feet. As always, I measure out 3 ends. Trace my marks, then cut with my circular saw. Sanded the cut in for a smooth finish, then Drygard the whole one side. It's a reason I did not do the other side. This would be the back of the wall. Now for the front portion of the wall, I'm taking a single 8-foot by 2-inch fern strip and tracing the width length for all 4 corners of the front part of the board. This is a reference for where the side panels and base will line up. Using 2 wood laths that are the same width, I place one on each side of the board where I trace. Then took one of the 8-foot by 2 fern strips and placed it at the top outside of the board and penciled where I should cut off the access to make it a snug fit. Cut 2 of the fern strips to size. Place them on the traced areas. One at the bottom, one at the top. To hold the fern strips in place, I use 3 clamps to keep the position. Turned the board over, slid the other fern strip under the other side for support, and went back to the clamp side and drove 7 1.5-inch screws to connect the fern strips to the board. Flip the board over and repeated the process for the other end. After, I measured the distance in between the furnace strips at 3 different areas to confirm evenness. Then to this 8 foot by 4 foot by 1 inch formula board and applied the dimensions at the same for the inner portions between the furnace strips. Once marked and traced, I used my heated foam cutter to cut my dimensions. Then took the board and placed it on the board between the furnace strips. Perfect fit. After, I applied 100% silicone to the back of the formula board, and I mean all over the back of it. 1 tube did it. Then flipped the formula board over to place it back evenly into its slot for overnight. This will cure with some help with some heavy weights for the next 16 hours.
Wait! Lay on. You're commanded by the court. Lay on!
This time, rather than doing my own ledges, I got a little handicap from Universal Rock. Placing the ledges where I want them and high hole with Waterfall. And trace the outer portion of the rock and high hole for future mortaring. This is the outcome. Also, I took a 2.5 inch PVC pipe and traced the diameter for the water output. Turned the board on its face and lined up the 2x4 furnace strips to the back, left and right outer portions of the wall. Turned it over to its back and connected the 2 furnace strips to the board with 5 1.5 inch wood screws and did the same thing for the other side. This is all for the back support. Turned it back on its face and measured the distance between the furnace strips. Of course, in 3 different areas from left to right. Then took 3 cut-to-size framing posts and lined them across the back, being mindful of where my cut holes would be. Then connected each end from the outside of the furnace strips with 2 2-inch wood screws. Turned the board back onto its back, and with the scrap formula board, I began the raising effect, breaking pieces and carving them up around the tracings. Now I began adhering all of the base raised pieces with 100% silicone. After an hour of curing, I added more pieces with other formular scraps until I was satisfied with the raise. This whole process took about 3 hours with curing time in between. Then took the rocks and confirmed fitment one last time before mortaring. So far, everything is lining up and looking good. Guess we're ready for the next process, and that's applying the full hardscape and coloring. That's it for this installment. Check back for part 2 of this construction as I'll be applying the mortar and color. Till next time, peace.